through that. Thank you so much for posting that, Wall Customs. I appreciate it. I never got into Frasier myself, to be honest, not sure why. If you've never really watched it, I suggest just giving a couple of episodes a go. It really is just such an enjoyable show. I don't really have many episodes of the show where I sit there and I'm like, well, I didn't enjoy that at all. It always gets a laugh out of me. And it actually reminds me a lot of The Simpsons, probably because the writers are like, they all went to Harvard and Yale and stuff, just like on The Simpsons. So it does remind me a lot of that. So if you like The Simpsons, you probably like Frasier. It's like when Hollywood shows country people and it's super fake. Yeah, exactly. It's like if all the cool kids created a nerd stereotype in the 80s and it hasn't changed since. Yep. It tries to act like the thing about Big Bang Theory that I personally don't like is I feel like it tries to act like it gets nerds, but it doesn't. It completely misunderstands nerd culture, but ironically, it has created a subculture of nerddom. I hate that. Where people do act like that show because they've seen it as defined that show by that show, if that makes sense. It's I don't like it, and I also hate the way they handle cameos as well. They're always very like heavy-handed, kind of like a late Simpsons, where it's like, wow, it's Carrie Fisher sort of thing. Like, I don't love that. Well, something I realized about Frasier that I love is that all of the callers on his radio show, they're always cameos. So for example, like one of them was Michael J. Fox. I'm pretty sure one of them was Stephen King. Like every voice that you hear is some kind of celebrity calling in as a cameo on his radio show. And I like just details like that. I love it so much. It's that sort of thing is so easy to do. They literally had them record over the phone because it's so easy, but still so cute, you know? Big Bang is framed as a way of making unintelligent people laugh at nerds. That's basically how I feel about it, yeah. I'd agree with you on those points. Frasier is endearing as fuck. I'm glad you can see where I'm coming from, Captain Cat. I'm glad you guys seem to be getting what I'm putting down about Big Bang Theory as well. Problem with classic space is it doesn't appeal to kids, which is why my idea is framed to address. Oh, fair enough, yeah. Well, if it addressed that, then Lego might actually be able to consider it, but yeah, I worry that Lego will overlook pitches about bringing back classic space and classic castle and stuff because I feel like they are sick of people suggesting it, if that makes sense, and they will just like roll their eyes and move on to the next thing, you know? I feel like if you want it to be that, you almost have to leave that out of the pitch so that they don't just ignore it and think, oh god, there's another guy wanting a classic space reboot. You gotta try and like sneak it past them, you know, without them really knowing, I feel like. Because they seem adverse about doing it, because they don't believe kids want it. I mean, the classic Spaceman set from Lego Movie 2 was meant to be this massive seller, and it ended up shelf warming. So you're off work, Nathan. Glad that you're finally finished. Thank you for hanging out with me. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. We're nearly finished here, but you go home, get yourself some rest, and I'll see you next time, Nathan. It's always a pleasure. Stay square, my friend. This reminds me of the difference between Psych and The Mentalist. I couldn't stand how serious they took The Mentalist, and it made the whole thing incredibly pretentious. Do you mean like psychology in general, or is there a show called Psych? Because if so, I haven't heard of it. Mentalist I never really watched. It's one of those shows that my parents liked. I think it gave people a very bad perception of what psychology is like. But a lot of media does that, so there is, you know, that problem. Anyway, we've been talking for a long time. I should really focus on trying to get this finished before midnight. It's 10 past 11 now. There's a show called Psych? I've never heard of it. Damn, there's a scratch on that. I might have to check it out. Pitch it to me. Pitch Psych to me. And where is it available? Although it might be different between America and Australia. Okay, nearly done. Essentially the same premise as The Mentalist, except done with a ton more character. It's on Amazon Prime. Okay, dude is gifted at seeing clues and is forced to pretend he's psychic as a new gig on the police force. Okay, that sounds awesome. I like that already. Someone having to pretend to be something that they're not is always a great premise. Super smart guy solves impossible mysteries, but he's an asshole and his best friend calls him out on it every time to hilarious hijinks. That almost sounds a bit like Benedict Cumberbatch as Sherlock, but it still sounds very good. My interest has been piqued. Hopefully, I'll add it to my list. Hopefully, I can give it a shot at some point. Of course, if I watch that without watching more of Avatar, I'll be in big trouble. So. Alright, looks like we're ready to add this on. I think I got all those parts, yeah. Alright, the wall is going on, folks. Now, around here, I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see this. It's too dark, but this part is getting attached to the new wall. I think it's meant to? I seem to have placed it in the wrong spot, I think.